Hey guys, it's David Ridings, Police and the Police. Would you know what to do? Hey everybody, I'm David Ridings. Thanks for joining us. It's a Friday night. I'm a little bit late tonight getting started. Got a good show, a couple of videos. We're going to learn a little bit about police discretion tonight and just how police discretion can be different when dealing with members of the public versus dealing with members of the police department. Shocker. So hang on. Got a couple of videos coming up. One of them, you will see a police officer pull over another police officer for suspected DUI, and just how the interaction changes when they find out the person they've pulled over is a police officer. Big fat shocker. Hello, Angel. Nice to have you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Looks like Xavier's on here too, although Xavier commented early, and I'm not sure how he did that because I wasn't even live when I saw Xavier's comment. So, all right, let's get into it. First, I want to show you a kind of a public service announcement, and this is, we like to bring things to you to be on the lookout for, and I don't know if this is. Well, I don't think that this is a serial kind of thing to be on the lookout for. I think it's an isolated incident. However, it is important for you to be aware of your surroundings. And let me share that screen with you here real quick. Okay. So this is in California, Gardena, California. Now, I don't care where you live. This is important for you to watch this video. This is at a gas station, just a random gas station. This interaction was between two people who did not know each other. This is a news report of what happened at this gas station.
The hunt for a suspect who sucker punched and a woman in a terrifying and brutal attack at a gas station. Now, the scary and random attack that could really happen to anyone has left a woman hospitalized.
Yeah, she was pumping gas when this stranger brutally beat her. KCAL9's Rick Montanez live in Gardena with this disturbing video, more of it, and the hunt, of course, for the man who did it. Rick?
Jasmine and Amy, we just learned actually from the employees here that the suspect in this attack is actually a regular customer, or at least he used to be. This is at the Sinclair station. We're off of Rosecrans Avenue and Avalon Boulevard here in Gardena. The brutal attack happened right here at pump number 1 last Sunday. The video is difficult to watch, but in it you can see the man pretty well, actually. Let's walk you through it. The LA County Sheriff's Department released the video today in hopes that someone recognizes the shirtless man. You see, once he's out of his SUV, he casually walks up to the unsuspecting victim, that woman pumping gas, when suddenly she's attacked. You can see the man knocks her to the ground and then repeatedly hits her. She falls out of sight from the security camera. Investigators say the attacker, though, grabs the woman's hair and repeatedly slams her head into the car and on the ground. The attack lasts about 30 seconds, and by that time, bystanders begin to approach the suspect and the victim. One man is even seen walking with the suspect as he goes back to his SUV.
Unbelievable. So these bystanders that just walked up afterwards, they didn't do anything to this guy. They just watched this guy beat this woman senseless, beat her to the point she had to go to the hospital, and she had to be admitted to the hospital in very serious condition. So women, Men, even be aware of your surroundings. I can't help but think that this had to have been some kind of road rage incident, because he just so calmly, he pulled up in front of her, facing her, and he just so calmly got out of his car and walked around like he knew what he was going to do. And she had no clue it was coming. She wasn't even watching him approach her. And so it's just really crucial for you to be aware of your surroundings. I tell my wife all the time, just, be aware of your surroundings. And it leads me to another topic of news today. Actually, this past week at the Beretta gun plant in Tennessee, in Gallatin, Tennessee, the governor of Tennessee signed into law our constitutional carry bill. What that means is you can carry now a firearm. Well, not now, but beginning July the 1st, that law goes into effect, and you can carry a firearm as long as you are otherwise not excluded from carrying a firearm. As long as you're not a felon, or you're not convicted of a domestic violence or a stalking offense. And there are some other minor nuances to the law, but generally speaking, 21 years old and above, and anyone who's in the military. What that means is 21 and above, as long as you're not prohibited from carrying a firearm, you can carry it open. That means exposed. I don't know why you would want to do that, but some people do. Some people carry exposed firearms, or you can carry it concealed, which means covered up and hidden under your clothing. Yeah, I do too. I think she is all right. I think she just went to the hospital and is going to be okay. So it also provides in there that anybody in the military can carry open or concealed, which means 18 to 20-year-old military people. Because if you can go into the military when you're 18 years old, and so the governor very rightly said, you know what, if you can serve our country, then you ought to be able to carry a firearm in Tennessee. So if you're 18 to 20 and in the military, or 21 and over and not otherwise precluded from carrying a firearm, you can carry a firearm in Tennessee. I think everyone should. I don't think people should carry firearms that don't know how to use them, clearly. But certainly in this day and age today, everybody, in my opinion, should carry a firearm. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail about that, because some people just don't believe in carrying firearms and they think firearms are the problem. I don't think firearms are the problem. You can just take a look at any community that has strong gun laws and just measure the crime. Measure the crime and the homicide rate in Chicago versus Nashville, Tennessee. You'll see a marked difference between those cities that will limit their citizens and their ability to carry a firearm, and the cities that don't, as it relates to crime. It's just unarguable. You can't argue it. It does make a difference. The gun's not the problem. It's the person with the gun that's the problem. Don't get me started. So let's get on to the videos tonight. I've got two, and the first one is, I'm going to give a shout out to this channel, and it's called Audit the Audit. If you've not seen it, be sure to go take a look at Audit the Audit and on YouTube, and give them the credit, as he says on there, that they deserve. This dash cam video is a citizen in New York. You can tell he's from New York when you hear the accent. And he rolls up behind these two cars that are just kind of side by side, and it looks like they're conversing with each other. And they're blocking the road. They're blocking traffic. They're going very slow. At one point, I think they were stopped, but they're going very slow, talking to each other. And this guy just was done having it. And so he honked the horn, and he didn't give the little, courtesy tap, beep, beep. You know, he laid on the horn. So when he laid on the horn, it pissed one of the police officers off and he flipped his blue lights on. And he was like, ah, crap, that's some police officers. So as soon as the guy turned his blue lights on, you'll notice immediately he stopped honking the horn and gave them some room. He backed off. So let's take a look and see what happened next. There we go.
On the night of April 22nd, 2021, New York resident Stephen Ortiz was driving along Ocean Avenue in South Brooklyn when he came upon two cars traveling very slowly and blocking both lanes.
With defo tapped. Kids is flat. All weekend and no November light. Oh my God. I'm on the wrong side of YouTube.
Once the vehicle activated its lights and revealed that it was an undercover police car, Mr. Ortiz immediately stopped honking and gave them some space. But once he approached the next stoplight, the officer initiated a verbal exchange with him.
Stay off the horn.
I had no idea what y'all were doing. Y'all were blocking traffic.
Right there. You're only allowed to honk your horn when there's imminent danger of collision. That's the vehicle and traffic law. Understand? You don't honk your horn just because you're annoyed. You got it?
It wasn't because I was noticed, because you were blocking traffic.
The officer stops in the roadway to...
So when I first heard that, I thought, what, are you crazy? I mean, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you can be a police officer for a long time and be a lawyer for a long time. And like myself, 30 something years on every side, and not know that something's against the law. Lots of people used to say it's illegal to drive without your shoe, to drive barefooted. It's not, but it's a myth. And if you would have told me 2 days ago that it's illegal to honk your horn for reasons other than imminent danger, I would have laughed at you and said, you're a big fat liar. But oddly enough, it's true. In many jurisdictions, it is lawful to honk your horn if you are warning someone. It doesn't have to be imminent danger, but it has to be a warning of some type of danger. And I guess it's just to keep people from creating a nuisance with their horn. And there's been literally some case law on that where people have driven by businesses and honked the horn in protest of something. And there's been some litigation as to whether or not that's a First Amendment right or a First Amendment freedom of speech right. If I'm protesting and I want to honk my horn, and it depends on the jurisdiction that you're in, there's some mixed case law on it. Some courts have found that it's not a First Amendment protected right, and that you can be charged and convicted of creating a nuisance if you're not honking to warn somebody of some type of danger. And then there's other jurisdictions that say, no, it is actually a form of expression and it's protected under the First Amendment. So it would depend upon what jurisdiction you're coming out of as to whether or not that was actually true. So I would just be careful in my city and just not honk the horn at the police if you don't have to. In this case, I think that it's arguable that he had a good reason to honk the horn, and you could say he was warning them of traffic coming up behind them that was getting backlogged. So I think he was well within his rights to honk his horn here, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
To inform Mr. Ortiz that he is not allowed to honk his horn unless there is imminent danger of collision. According to Section 375 of the New York Vehicle and Traffic Law, quote, every motor vehicle operated or driven upon the public highways of the state shall be provided with a suitable and adequate horn or other device for signaling, which horn or device shall produce a sound sufficiently loud to serve as a danger warning, but shall not be used other than as a reasonable warning, nor be unnecessarily loud or harsh.
Believe it or not. Now I'm going to skip through some of this law. He goes through and he teaches people about different laws as it relates to the videos that he's breaking down. And I'm just going to show you what happened in the rest of the video.
Court would determine this application of the statute was constitutional.
No, you don't honk your horn for that reason, sir. Got it?
Why are you talking to me like that?
I'm just letting you know what the vehicle and traffic law is.
No.
No, you're not letting him know what the vehicle and traffic law is. You're exerting your authority. And you want him to know that you have all the authority and he needs to mind his own business and not honk his horn, or he's going to get himself pulled over and arrested. So that's what you're doing. And he's a bully. He's a bully cop. You know how I feel about bully cops. Sorry. When you discover them, now this is not a fireable offense right here. I don't think that he should be fired for this exchange, but I do think that he needs some remedial training.
I'm not asking you the vehicle and traffic law. I'm asking you why are you talking to me like that?
I'm talking to you like that because you honk your horn and you obviously.
But you understand. But clearly you understand why I honk.
The officer abruptly ends the conversation by driving forward as he was being spoken to, leaving.
So he was just not having any more of the lecture that this citizen was giving him, but he does escalate it here in just a second.
Mr. Ortiz, somewhat confused and offended. After a moment of pause, Mr. Ortiz continues driving, and it initially appears as though the interaction has ended. But as Mr. Ortiz approaches the next intersection, he notices the officer's vehicle idling on the side of the roadway, and the officer initiates a traffic stop on Mr. Ortiz as soon as he passes by.
Now, in my opinion, there was no reason for this stop. He can justify it by the reasonable suspicion of him violating the horn honking ordinance, but it's petty and it's abusive, in my opinion. And cops that do this kind of crap need to be yanked back into the training academy and taught how to de-escalate. That's right, power tripping cop. How to de-escalate situations rather than to escalate them, which is exactly what he's doing here, escalating it.
How you doing? Put your hands on the wheel. Put your hands on the wheel. Thank you. Put that camera back to where it was. If you want to film, if you want anything, any information, you're going to get it.
Yeah, no, I want the information because this is kind of ridiculous.
Why are you pointing the camera that way?
I'm pointing for my safety.
You can point it wherever you want, no problem. You want to film it too? That's fine. I don't care. Yeah.
I have everything on camera.
Yeah, I know.
My question to him was, why?
Wait, just put your hands, keep your hands there. All right? License and registration, sir.
I want the business card. I don't want a supervisor.
Yeah. You'll get everything. Talking to one.
I'm filing a complaint. This is ridiculous.
That's fair enough.
This is ridiculous. I'm filing a complaint with the CCRB.
Okay.
Notice he said, I'm filing a complaint with CCRB. That's not something that most citizens would be able to just roll off their tongue. He's got some personal knowledge of policing and what to say to a police officer who is being abusive. CCRB is where you would file a complaint against a police officer in New York, and they carry some weight. And so this guy is either a police officer himself or the family member of one, is what it told me when I first watched this video. And as you see, you're about to find out which.
1-800-341-CCRB.
And my mother's a police officer.
Where at?
At the 1PP.
Okay.
My mother's a police officer at the 1PP. So now watch how the demeanor changes just slightly.
You said to me, why are you talking to me like that? Did I say anything discourteous to you?
Yeah, it's very discourteous.
What was discourteous? I used profanity?
I was trying to... You don't have to use profanity to be discourteous.
Okay. What was discourteous?
Well, I was trying to explain to you why I was honking. Clearly, you knew why I was honking.
Uh-huh.
But you saw the lights.
And I told you...
Once I saw the lights, I stopped honking.
Okay.
I have respect for cops. My mother's a cop. But I also understand what's going on in the world today.
Do you know... As you say, your mom's a cop.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever she's a cop.
Puerto Rican. I'm a Hispanic.
No.
But
okay.
so listen.
Let me talk first. Let me talk.
Okay.
All right. We're currently doing an investigation here. We're just looking for somebody. You get it? Did you get that? All right. If I'm talking to him, it's because I probably have something, or the guys that I'm working with right now have something. The fact that you're actually honking to us like desperate, I get it. You want to get somewhere right now, probably home to your family, whatever. But Come on, bro. Look, just let it be. We let you work. Let us work.
Mr. Ortiz had no way of
let us work, he says. And he goes on to say here, this guy had no way of knowing they were police officers when he first started honking. And immediately upon the lights coming on, he stopped honking. He said, oh, crap, or something to that effect, and backed off. So he knew that he was about to have some police interaction for having laid on the horn at these two cops, because New York cops, honestly, they're just a little bit testy. I don't know why. I went to New York once, and you walk around the streets of New York, it's just different than walking around the streets of Nashville, Tennessee. People are just not friendly there. I'm sorry. If you're from New York, my wife's from New York. She's born in New York. It's just different. They don't treat you with the same kind of respect up there that cops in other jurisdictions will, especially down south. So,
knowing that these undercover vehicles were officers before he honked his horn, and the dash cam footage shows that he stopped honking the moment the officers activated their lights.
Oh my God.
He says, oh my God.
In New York, police off vehicles from being used in routine traffic.
I'm going to skip through, and because now they get into talking about whether or not you can make a traffic stop in an undercover vehicle. And there's some rules and regulations on that in New York. So, but I'm not going to get into that.
Was lawful.
And when I told you, when you knew who we were, and I told you what the vehicle and traffic law was, you were still piping up.
I was piping. I have it on camera.
You were still piping up. See, they're just a little bit testy up there. When I told you that we were police officers and what we were doing and what the traffic law was, you're still piping up. You're still giving me lip when I told you who had the authority. God, I just hate bully cops. Can't stand bully cops. So he goes on, and they back and forth here a little bit, but then he calls his mother.
So I don't.
I'm telling you what you were doing.
At this point now, I'm just going to record the video.
That's no problem. You're free to record whatever you want. I'm telling you about what you did.
I'm filing a complaint.
That's fair enough.
This is ridiculous.
And I don't know what the basis of your complaint was, because nobody was discourteous to you.
Well, I'll show the video, and I'll let them figure that out.
That's cool. That'll be fine. You got any?
So comment below. Do you think he was being discourteous? I think he was being discourteous. I think you don't have to cuss at somebody to be discourteous. And as Angel knows, with family in New York City, just the tone of a New York City cop can be discourteous, especially when you get pulled over for honking your horn, just because you want to exert your authority. That's my problem.
Information for your mom, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to call her right now.
All right. You get on the phone.
She's the one who always tells me to write complaints. Okay. That's the person who tells me to write complaints.
You're free to do that. You have a card or anything? Any proof that you're related to her?
Normally I don't like to use that card.
That's fine.
Mom.
What?
I have 2 NYPD officers pulled me over.
Okay.
They were blocking the streets. I honked the horn. The second they showed their lights, I stopped honking the horn. Right? So one cop goes forward, I go forward, and the other cop waits for me to tell me why I'm honking. He knows why I'm honking. I have him right here. He doesn't believe my mother's a cop. Can you please tell him?
You want me to talk?
At this point now I am going to file a complaint with the CCLV.
You want me to talk to her?
Mom, would you like to talk to the police officer?
Yeah. How are you? So, if his license is good, he's good. No problem. I'm going to put your phone right here. If his license is good and he's got no problem, okay, go ahead. He's got, yeah, I'm hearing you. Okay. I'll do exactly that. Okay. Understood. So, here's what we got here, unless you don't want to know. Okay, so I pulled next to your son, and I said, sir, I understand you're in a hurry. He's got it recorded, so I got no reason to lie to him. I said the vehicle and traffic law, under the vehicle and traffic law, your horn is used to signal imminent danger, not annoyance. That's all. That's all. That was too much for him. So
That was too much for him.
here we are. That's what it is. I'm going to give him all of the information. Say again? I didn't hear you. He honked the horn in violation of the VTL. Oh, okay. We'll see you at CCRB. Okay. All right. You have a good one.
She'll say, okay, we'll see you at CCRB then. Just notice how, well, I want you to watch one more part of this.
I'll give him all the information. There you go.
Yeah, so I honked the horn, and he's screaming at me.
Steven, I want you to be quiet.
After all,
I want you to be quiet. I want you to pay attention to what mom tells you. Moms are pretty smart, and especially moms that are high up on the police department. Apparently, she's got some seniority there at the police department, and I don't know whether they knew that when they spoke to her, but clearly their demeanor changed when they found out they were dealing with a family member of a police officer. I will say one thing about New York cops: as abrasive as they can be, if you're a cop or a family member of a cop, you're going to get some special treatment in New York. That's the way they do things. They have a lot of respect for their brotherhood. And you talk about the blue code of silence, man, it's alive and well up there in New York. I'm just going to say. So at any rate, the next video that we've got, I'm not going to play any more of that one. It's just, you get the point. The point is cops are going to exert their authority. You need to understand first and foremost, just like mom told him, Stephen, don't say anything, because what he's saying there can make it appear that he was annoyed, and that's why he used his horn. And if they really wanted to charge him, they could probably get a conviction for using the horn for something other than to warn of imminent danger. And so it's just better to keep your mouth shut when you're dealing with the police. Yes, I agree. Okay, so let's move on to the next video. The next video, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play portions of it. And
so you got your license, insurance?
I want you to see again how the demeanor changes of this police officer and whether or not you think this police officer would have done the same thing had he been dealing with a private citizen.
Real quick.
Yes.
All right. The reason I'm stopping initially, why I stopped, was you made the turn at the 5-way. There's a dotted yellow line there, and you totally
Oh, okay.
It was in the middle of your car.
I am a Cincinnati police officer too, if that makes a difference.
Okay. Did you hear the way she said that? No, I am a Cincinnati police officer too, if that makes a difference. Sounded a little bit slurry to me. Not gonna lie.
I don't know. Where are you coming from?
We were downtown, Loveland.
Okay. Do you have your gun on you?
I do.
Where's that at?
In my purse.
All right. Let me do this. Let me put your gun in the car, in the trunk. Is that okay?
So he puts the
All
gun.
right, Mr. Lynn.
For your ID? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the problem. I smell alcohol on you. Okay, and your speech is slurred. And you had your gun on you. I'm putting that in the trunk, but your speech is slurred and everything. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't just. I see your badge, but I'm telling you, your speech is slurred. You reek of alcohol. You put me in a bad spot.
You want me to drive home, officer?
No, that's not how it's going to work.
You want me to drive home, officer? No, you're drunker than your wife.
You got your gun on you too?
I do.
All right.
We're about 4 blocks from our house.
Yeah, we did.
You don't understand the circumstances right now, okay?
I don't.
You don't. I mean, everything's recorded. I can't just do nothing now. Oh, you guys both reek of alcohol. You were sleeping, passed out, sleeping when I pulled you over.
I was not.
Okay, that's fine.
Wide awake.
Okay.
It's important not to argue with the police officer on the scene of a traffic stop, folks. Even cops get this. I mean, especially cops who are the ones being pulled over can get a little agitated and they get a little emboldened because they've got that badge in their pocket and they got that gun on their hip. And now if you're drunk and you're carrying your gun around, you should be arrested. Shame on you. Ain't nobody should be carrying a gun. I just got through talking about the open carry, constitutional carry in Tennessee. Now for anybody who's not precluded from carrying a firearm can carry a firearm. But if you're drunk, you ain't got no business carrying a firearm. And it's against the law in every state in the union to carry a firearm while you're intoxicated. And this guy's clearly intoxicated. I mean, you know, I'm a defense attorney, and so I could argue it either way. But I mean, you know, I'm breaking these videos down. Let's just look at at the facts that we have here. And you can watch in a minute and you know, gather more information as you go along to determine whether or not you think he's drunk.
That's fine, but she's slurred and everything. I can't just.
No, she's not. You do,
No.
officer.
That's
You do
why.
what you gotta do.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I drove, because I was fine.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's do this.
All right.
Step on out with me and talk to me.
We
Sir,
crossed a yellow line while we were driving. You do what you got to do.
I have to. You understand that? I have to. It's not that I want to.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Hold on to your ID.
How long you been a cop?
Pat, stop it. Stop.
How long you been a cop? Yeah, you do. Well, I don't at all have a problem with this officer arresting these police officers. And I used to be a police officer. And shame on you police officers who think that you can get some special treatment because you're police officers. And honestly, shame on this police officer for not just handling it and instead apologizing 6 ways to Sunday for having to do his job. You shouldn't be apologizing to these people for having to do your job. Quit apologizing. You can apologize them. You can apologize to them tomorrow when they've sobered up and say, dude, I mean, I would not do any of this on camera if I were this police officer. You're just basically saying to everybody that watches this video, hey man, God, if I didn't have this camera on, man, you guys would be going home right now. Everything's recorded. I'm limited in what I can do. Man, you put me in a bad spot. Quit doing that. Quit saying that. Just do your job and treat them like you would treat the next guy. And you know what you do? You'd say, ma'am, I smell alcohol. And how much have you had to drink today? Because you'd question them and you would get as much information as you can before you get them to exit the car, because you're building the case as you go. And so you would ask them questions. How much have you had to drink today? Where have you been? Where are you coming from? Would you step out of the car and let me give you a few tests to make sure it's okay for you to drive? That's what you would do. And then you would go through the procedures of what you're trained through NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, teaches police officers how to administer field sobriety tests. Field sobriety tests are standardized for the most part. So you've got 3 standardized field sobriety tests. One of them is follow the pin with your eyes. The next one is walk and turn. Stand on this imaginary line and walk 9 steps forward and 9 steps back. And then the last one, stand on 1 foot for 30 seconds. And there's some other ones that you can do that are non-standardized, but those are the standardized ones. That's what you would normally do. Let's see if he does that.
Sir, you've got your gun on you and you're intoxicated too. Don't.
I am not.
She just said you were. That's why she drove home.
She didn't.
She said that's why she drove home.
I said,
No, she drove home because she's not intoxicated. You do what you got to do.
Well, here's the problem. 2 is that you've got your gun on you. Where's that at?
It's on his hip. So here's where we get into the field sobriety test, okay? And I just told you what they were. I'm going to skip through portions of this video because it's not important for this video for me to go through those. So let's just get to the end and see where. And one of these days I'm going to do a video just on these standardized field sobriety tests and tell you what they are, what they mean, why the police give them, why you should never take them ever, and then we'll in that video we'll explain what the police are looking for and exactly why they do it in a DUI stop. But for purposes of this video, let's see how this ends up.
You won't take your shoes off and do any more tests, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got high heels.
I know, you can take those off. You got gym shoes in the car or anything?
No.
You know you've had too much to drink. You know you drink too much to drive.
We live just down the street.
I understand where you live, but you know
But I haven't had too much to drink.
So you're not going to do any field tests to help me out to make the right decision?
Notice how he says, you're not going to do any field tests to help me out to make this decision. He's not asking her, why don't you come over here and do a few tests so I can make sure it's okay for you to drive. He's suggesting to her the answer. So you're not going to take any of these field sobriety tests to make me, to help me make this decision. Well, when you put it like that, no, I'm not. So he didn't want her to agree to take the field sobriety test. He knew that they would be bad for her. So he's helping her out. I'm just a little miffed because this is not how they treat other people.
Follow us home.
I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, it's beyond.
She says, follow us home. And he says, no, sorry, I can't. Man, I'm so sorry. I know you're a police officer. I know you're really kind of like my sister. And man, I just hate to do my job. I'm so sorry. Gosh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate to do my job and arrest you for driving under the influence. But wait, there is one thing that I can do for you. There's one thing that I still have discretion to do.
On too far. I can't just follow you home now. You understand that? It's nothing personal.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm going to have to do what I have to do, okay? I'm going to have to arrest you for drinking and driving tonight. We'll do the paperwork. I'm not going to charge you for the gun. I'm not going to do that to you. I have too much respect for you.
Jesus. I'm not going to charge you for the gun. I have too much respect for you. So I'm not going to charge you for the gun. Why? Just do your job, officer. Treat her like she's any other citizen. And like Angel says, you take an oath to protect and serve. It's one thing if you feel that way. And I've pulled police officers over before, and maybe I acted like that. And there wasn't a camera on me. Back in the day, they didn't have cameras on all the police officers. Heck, they didn't have cameras. We didn't even have cell phones when I first became a cop. When they had cell phones. I mean, I wasn't a police officer in the Flintstones, but it's been a while since I've been a police officer. And they did have cell phones in the latter part of when I was a cop, but not everybody walked around with this HD camera in their pocket. And so there really wasn't a lot of video. I do have some footage from cops because cops rode with me for a couple of months. And, we were on 5 or 6 episodes of that back in the 90s. And maybe I was overly apologetic. I don't know. I hope I wasn't like that. But it just bothers me that this guy is so apologetic. I mean, he might feel that way, but do you realize, officer, how you look on this video? And that video can be used by a good defense attorney in other cases. Because if I've got a DUI case in that jurisdiction, I'm going to save that little file, that little video file right there. I'm going to pull it and I'm going to drag and drop it over here and I'm going to save it in my evergreen file. And the evergreen file is the file of video of cops that you might find useful in a jury trial of another citizen. Well, isn't it true, officer, that you don't always do it like this? Sometimes, if this person were a police officer, you wouldn't have treated them the same as my client. You would have done it a little differently. So anyway, it's just bad theatrics in my humble opinion. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Again, as always, here at Policing the Police and Stand Against Dark Blue, this is what we do. We break down these videos. We teach people how to be pulled over by the police. We teach people what to say and what not to say. This is not to be considered legal advice. I can't give you legal advice. You're not my client. This is for entertainment purposes only here. But we do like it when you comment below and you like this video and you share this video with somebody and invite them to come join the fun, because we go live every weeknight somewhere around 8 o'clock in the evening. Tonight I'm a little late getting started, but we teach you how to be pulled over by the police. We teach you things that every American should know. It is a deadly combo, Angel says. And I defend a whole lot of people driving under the influence. I've hundreds of them. And I've made, countless arrests when I was a police officer for that. So I don't defend the crime. I don't encourage people to drive under the influence. I think it's terrible to drive under the influence. And I've done it myself, and I've been in trouble in my life for doing stuff, and I've done stupid stuff that I didn't get caught doing. I don't do it anymore. And certainly I learned my lesson when I was young. But I defend the Constitution and I defend the process. And so I teach people how to invoke their rights. We say here, early and often. And you enjoy rights under the United States Constitution. I got this Constitution from a man named Rand Paul. He actually gave me this. And I keep it close. Well, not just that one. I have a smaller copy that goes in my pocket, and I do carry it with me a lot. Of course, I practice law, but I think everybody ought to get them one of these and read it and know it. Dropped it. Commit it to memory. And you know what? Teach your children about the constitutional rights that they have. Teach your children how to be pulled over by the police. Teach your children what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say. We have to do something in this country to turn things around. And it didn't get this way overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. But if we get more people on board, respectfully policing the police, we can make some changes. I don't advocate mistreating the cops. I don't advocate defunding the cops. I don't believe in defunding the police. I think that's stupid. I believe in giving them more money and more resources for training and education and recruitment and whatnot. So it's just important for us to have good cops on the street. And if you start taking money and resources away from them, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get the good cops leaving, which they're doing in droves now. And you're going to get the dredge of society applying for a job as a police officer. All the bullies that enjoy bullying people around and pushing people around. And that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of person you're going to get that's going to apply for that job. It's just a recipe for disaster. And I'm saying you better wake up, folks, because this is coming to your doorstep. And we've got to fight back. Thanks for joining us tonight. Be sure to like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and we'll be back next week. Thanks. Adios.
I got this storm in my head, a forest fire in my chest. Look at the time on the clock, man, I'm gonna sleep when I'm dead. Whether you're ready or not, I'm rolling in like a train off the tracks, coming at you. You ain't seen nothing yet. Walk that way, start that fire, yeah. Burn it down, yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. I go harder, live for Saturday. You ain't seen nothing yet.
That's 5 Delay, Shelby 13 Central. 5 George K.
My heart, my soul,
5 George K.
my fight, my
5 George K.
appetite.
496 Broadway between Willow and Stone.
I come back every time. My heart, my soul, my fight, my appetite. Won't stop, won't quit. I come back every time. My heart, my soul, my fight, my appetite. Won't stop, won't quit. I come back every time. You ain't seen nothing yet. Walk that way, start that fire, yeah. Burn it down, oh, yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. I go harder, live for Saturday. Feel me now, you ain't seen nothing yet.